Nevada is passing legislation to attract big tech companies to build their digital utopias. Recently, Nevada's Democratic Governor Steve Sisolak announced a plan to launch innovation zones in the state, which will allow big tech firms to create their own governments. In order to build and govern its own digital utopia or zone, a company must own or control at least 50,000 acres of undeveloped land, put up an initial investment of $250 million, and invest an additional $1 billion over a period of 10 years. The government that this company creates will be equivalent of that of a county government. It has the authority to impose taxes, hire and pay public officials, and form school districts and even courts. Hello everyone, welcome to Lei's Real Talk. I'm Lei. Nevada's idea of high-tech autonomous zones dates back to 2018 when Jeffrey Burns and his company Blockchains LLC announced that they would build a smart city in Nevada. Burns, a former lawyer and a Bitcoin enthusiast, had bought 67,000 acres of land in Nevada's Story County and announced that his smart city would run on cryptocurrency. Besides Burns, Story County has already attracted many big tech firms. Google spent $29 million and bought 1,210 acres of land in Nevada to build a data center. It's reported that Google ultimately wants to own 100,000 acres of land. Apple has spent $2.6 billion to build a data center on 1,700 acres. And right next to Jeff Burns' tract of land, Tesla has built the Gigafactory, which is the largest building in the world. Italy's dictator and fascist leader Benito Mussolini said 100 years ago that the definition of fascism is the marriage of corporation and state. Is Nevada becoming a fascist state under the guise of a smart city when these large corporations run their own governments? So what exactly is a smart city? A smart city is an urban area that uses electronic methods and sensors to collect data from citizens, devices, buildings, and assets. This data is then analyzed and used to manage these assets, buildings, devices, and so on for efficiency and optimization. It's also likely to be used to monitor people, kind of like what Communist China does, in the name of security and preventing disruption. It goes back to 2005, when Bill Clinton, through his Clinton Foundation, challenged network equipment maker Cisco to use its technical know-how to make cities more sustainable and smarter. As a result, Cisco dedicated $25 million over 5 years to research the subject. 5 years later, in 2010, when Cisco's pledge to the Clinton Foundation expired, it launched a new business division called Smart and Connected Communities to commercialize the products and services it had developed during the program. Adam Greenfield, a network expert who has spent over a decade designing and developing digital networks, wrote a book called Against the Smart City. He said that Cisco, IBM, and Siemens are the three big corporations at the heart of the smart city fantasy. By the way, IBM's slogan these days is, "Let's make a smarter planet." These three companies build the backbone and infrastructure of smart cities, which are, according to Greenfield, designed to provide consumption, convenience, and security for a few, and a permanent state of exception for everyone else. This is what he said about smart city.
Something that is disturbingly consonant with the exercise of authoritarianism and control from the top down. Something that is evacuated of content, evacuated of history, evacuated of politics. I would argue to you, evacuated of urbanity itself.
Adam Greenfield studied the manual of IBM, Cisco, and the like. and pointed out that these smart cities by design are against democracy. IBM conceives the practice of democracy as disruption. He said that's precisely what IBM means when they say to minimize disruption. They mean minimize the practice of democracy. IBM and Cisco, together with large tech firms such as Google, have been quietly building and experimenting with the smart city concept over the last several years. For example, Kansas City, Missouri is collaborating with Sprint and Cisco to build a smart city. Phoenix, Arizona is also building a smart city. In 2017, Bill Gates purchased 24,000 acres of land through his subsidiary Mont Lemon Holdings and invested $80 million through his investment company Cascade to build a smart city called Belmont outside Phoenix. Last that I checked, it's still under construction. Public responses for smart cities, however, haven't always been positive. In 2017, Google's sibling company, Sidewalk Labs, which is an urban planning firm owned by Google's parent company, Alphabet, made an investment of $50 million to do initial planning for building a smart city on Toronto's waterfront. In an area of 325 acres, Sidewalk Labs proposed a modern-day dream city, curbless streets, autonomous vehicles, and an automated delivery system. There will be no private cars and very little parking. Streets will be kept free of snow and ice using the latest technology, and the whole area will be wired for connectivity. Sidewalk Labs also pledged to commit more than $1 billion to start the project, which will bring about tens of thousands of jobs to the city. It sounds pretty good, right? But Torontonians reacted with suspicion and distrust. Some call Google's new system of monitoring and profiting from the citizens' every movement and their entire online life surveillance capitalism. And when Sidewalk proposed to receive a share of the property taxes generated from rising land values, it caused an uproar. As the public resistance intensified, the Toronto government reduced the scope of the project to a 12-acre parcel of land and repeatedly delayed final approval. Months before another approval vote was to be held, the COVID pandemic hit. Google's sibling company eventually canceled the project altogether. Shannon Matton, a professor of anthropology at the New School, proclaims that a city is not a computer. Urban intelligence is more than information processing, and I agree with her. As we have more and more smart devices in our life, like smartphones, smart watches, smart wallets, and smart keys, we actually become dumber because we stop using our own brains and rely on these devices to do the thinking for us. I used to remember people's phone numbers, but now I don't even remember my own number. Without GPS, I sometimes can't even drive home. So as the city gets smarter and smarter, we may have less and less freedom and inevitably become dumber. With the arrival of 5G, this risk is getting ever closer. You should take a look at my videos called Who Has Your Data and A Trap of Common Destiny to learn more about the risk of 5G by clicking there. Thank you for watching. Please like and share this video, and I'll see you next time.